Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. 1 second, y'all. Let me get all set up. I'm running late. BPT. Come on. What is wrong? All right, y'all gotta excuse me. I'm on BPT. Those who know. One up, slime. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. All right, y'all, we're gonna try to jump straight in because I am late. Sorry, excuse me, y'all. You know, life be lifing. Got to go pick my truck up from the shop, so I was a little late. Make sure y'all like, share, subscribe. Alhamdulillah, this is real live Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah. Anybody feel free to let me know in the comments if my sound isn't good. Let me finish getting set all the way up. Not good. I had my thing on here ready, and it disappeared. Interesting. That's not what I need. Second, y'all. Okay. This thing is giving me a problem. Hold on. I just had this set up. Man, I hate how I be so unprepared all the time. That's crazy. Why is this doing this? Allah. Come on now. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. What's going on, y'all? What's going on TikTok? If y'all want to see the screen share or whatever, y'all can go to YouTube, check it out. Make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe. Come on, thing. I literally just had it pulled up earlier, man. So I can trying to share this screen share. Let me see. Maybe I can pull this thing up. Yeah, I'm just gonna have to go. Dang, I don't know why this did that. I got the actual PDF though. I can pull up. I ain't want to have to go through all that. So we're gonna go through and just look at a statement that Sheikh Fawzan, who is top authority in the Salafi Minhaj, a statement that he made that is incorrect, that is in one of his Aqidah books, and it is called A Sound Guide to the Creed of the Muslims, which is an issue. The statement that he made is an issue. Okay. Hold up. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah. Wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Yeah, okay, I got it. Let me see if I can just do this the other way. I don't know why that thing just... All right, so y'all can see the screen share. This is from his book. So, Bismillah. let's dive in. Let me make sure. Let me check how I'm looking over here on Instagram because Instagram be tripping sometimes. It's a little delayed. Okay. I like the way that look. Let me change that up real quick. Y'all give me a second. I'm getting ready to start cooking. All right. So here's the screen. I got the screen share on. So first and foremost, what I want to say, what I want to address is, first, no, another something else. I hate that, I have to spend so much time doing these refutations, but if y'all seen the ridiculous stuff that I have to deal with on a regular basis, and one of the ridiculous things that I have to deal with on a regular basis is Salafis calling the Ash'aris Jahmiyyah. So we got to kind of go into, we have to go into that discussion. We have to go into that discussion in order to get let me change this to reading view if I can. I don't think I can. Let me enlarge it at least so y'all can see it a little better. So that which is wrong. This is a major Aqidah error. This is a major Aqidah blunder. And somebody who is as big and as good as a scholar as Sheikh Fawzan should not have made such an Aqidah blunder. But first and foremost, if y'all need access to authentic Islamic learning in any of the four madhabs, y'all send me a DM on Facebook, send me a DM on TikTok, Instagram. Y'all know how to find me. Send me a DM and I can link y'all up with my teachers and the online classes, the online initiatives that they're holding so that people can have more access to the traditional knowledge and not just be stuck Googling stuff on YouTube and getting back, just some backwards teachings or links that's 9 times out of 10 going to come from the Salafi Minhaj. So send me a DM. I can hook y'all up with whatever school y'all are interested in learning. I have resources with all of them as shuyukh and resources with all of them. The Hanafis, the Malikis, Shafi'is, and the Hanabila. For fiqh, we also have Aqidah initiatives that I can hook y'all up with. It's going to cost a little bit, but it won't cost y'all much more than what you would spend on fast food, every single week. So I think that everybody should at least be able to, make that sacrifice. And you can move at your own pace. The classes are online classes. A lot of them are recordings that are a little bit more traditional. They're smaller circles, and you can have access to the sheikh and have access to their shuyukh. I can link y'all in with all of this. So I don't want to make, even though my platform is heavily built on refuting Salafiyah, which is necessary because there is an Aqidah war. And, sad to say, when wars are fought, there's going to be bloodshed. I like all the favorite speakers and all of that, and I don't like going against and talking bad and making Muslims feel bad. I don't like none of this, but it's what it is. And sad to say, the Salafi Wahhabis started it. And there have been many attempts to call them back to Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah, and they refuse. They are hell-bent that we are deviants and we're going to the hellfire, and a lot of us are non-Muslims. And if we follow non-Muslims, then we're non-Muslim as well. These are the deviant, errant views that are that are being spread all online. So somebody got to get in here and fight. Somebody got to get in here and protect Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah. Our ulama did it. This is the Sunnah. A lot of people say, it's not, but they just don't know the Sunnah as well as they should. It is, and um, frankly speaking, that's actually how the Ash'ari school and the Maturidi school came to be. Looking through my notes, why is this not here? Okay, all right, I got it. Okay, I got what I'm looking for, what I was looking for anyway. Why is this off center like this? There it is. Oh, okay, so the Aqidah error that Sheikh Fawzan made is this. This is in his book. This is the English PDF copy. Most people have this. I think it's called in Arabic. I think it's called the Irshad. I think it's called the Irshad. One of y'all Salafi imams that watches my videos, correct me. But it's called the Guide to Sound Creed, a book on Muslim Aqidah. I think that's the full title. I can't even pull the full title. I think that's it. Well-known book. Big problem here. I'm just going to read his quote, inshallah ta'ala, and then we're going to go into what the big problem is. So Sheikh Fawzan said on page 145 of his book, as y'all can see here, this is page 145, and it's up under the first principle, and it says, belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then he says, all texts that are concerned with Allah's sublime attributes are precise. Therefore, Muslims read them, fully comprehend their clear meanings, which is peculiar because we were never commanded to comprehend the actual meanings of Allah's sifat. I'm obsessed with this topic, as y'all know, and I'm not saying I'm an expert, but I know my way around the block with this conversation. I haven't seen anybody make that statement yet. Whatever. Further, he goes on to say, and do not denounce or disapprove of any of them. So he goes to give some proof from the Salaf. And the proof that he gives is from a tabi'i, muhaddith. He was an authority in hadith. He was thiqa in hadith. His name was Waqi', radiallahu ta'ala anhu. And the quote from Waqi' goes as, he said, we observed Al-A'mash and Sufyan, radiallahu ta'ala anhuma, narrating hadiths pertaining to expressing Allah's sublime attributes without denying them. End quote. Now, Fawzan goes on to say, such hadiths were only denounced by heretics, the mulhidun, among the Jahmiyyah, Mu'tazila, and Ash'ari, who followed the deviated path of the early Meccan polytheists. They all disbelieved. In Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and renounced his best names. Na'udhu billah min dhalik. This makes your heart pulsate. How on earth? I mean, that's takfir on the Ash'ari madhab. Now, anybody who's Salafi Wahhabi that might be watching this, y'all correct me. I'm not one. That's why I leave my comment sections open. I'm accessible. Y'all can inbox me. I've always given invites to Salafis / Wahhabis, whatever, and to get them to, explain these problematic terms, not call me names, because the people who call names and, throw people off the minhaj, that shows you have no intellect and that you're just a gangbanger. You're just a Salafi gangbanger. I'm over here throwing A's and you over here throwing S's. That's all that is. I need an intellectual response to this. And I got a couple guys that I converse with. I've asked them about this and they don't have an answer. All they do is say, you're a jahil. This is why you don't understand. You're ignorant. This is why you don't understand. Well, make me understand. Make me not jahil. The question, Jibril. What's the question? I just got here. The question is, why did Fawzan make takfir on the Ash'ari? Per his book, The Guide to Sound Creed, on page 145, where he grouped us together with the Jahmiyyah and the Mu'tazili, first and foremost. That was a major mistake. That was a major blunder, major error, major Aqidah error. That's the first problem. Second problem is he said he even specified the type of kufr that the Ash'ari engaged in. He said, and Ash'ari who followed the deviated path. First he called us deviants, and then said we followed the deviated path of the early Meccan mushrikeen, the early Meccan pagans. They all disbelieved in Allah. This is clear. They all, the Jahmiyyah, the Mu'tazila, and the Ash'ari, they all disbelieved in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they renounced his names. Na'udhu billah min dhalik. Na'udhu billah min dhalik. So now we're going to prove Sheikh Fawzan wrong. Now I'm wondering, so you understand Aqidah better than Sheikh Fawzan? Evidently I do. And Dia Al-Arabi, I guess that's your name, on TikTok, answer the question. I already challenged y'all not to give slurs. Don't give slurs. Just answer the question. If he made takfir of the Ash'ari, what is his proof? Y'all always on here talking about, where's your proof? Where's your proof? We only follow the proofs and the evidences. If this is not, and he did tadlis. And he did tadlis. I'm on here asking a question. I'm not saying Sheikh Fawzan was smarter than me, which is worse. These individuals who are smarter than me are making simple errors in Aqidah, which the only other reason why that could be is that they had an agenda. And me, we are accusing the Salafi Saudi Arabian scholars of pushing the agenda of the Wahhabi agenda. And we know everybody knows the Wahhabis sided with the Saudi tribe, and the Saudi tribe had a secret pact with the British government. And even in the book Thalathatul Usul, Ibn Abdul Wahhab mentions how it's not permissible for the believers to take as friends and protectors the unbelievers, which is an ayah in the Quran. But he had a pact with the Saudi tribe, and they took as an ally the British government and helped take down the last Khilafah. So, and they're asking me, Jibril said, what was his wrongdoing of Aqidah and what you just said? I'm not following. Hello, that the Ash'ari were kuffar. He says, listen, I'm going to repeat it. Jahmiyyah, Mu'tazila, the Ash'ari who followed the deviated path of the early Meccan polytheists, they all disbelieved in Allah Ta'ala and renounced his names. Where on earth did this big, great scholar that y'all all blind follow, where did he get that from? Like you said, you just dropped in And you didn't maybe see what I said earlier, but I'm giving an open challenge to anybody to point me towards where the Salaf ever compared the Ash'ari to the Jahmiyyah, compared them to the Mu'tazila, and made takfir to them, said that they disbelieved and that they were on a deviated path and that they renounced the names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is only found in modern Saudi's Wahhabi literature. That's not in the literature of the Salaf nor the Khalaf. Those 5 to 6 blessed generations. It's not there. Now, I will admit, I have not seen all of the works of the four madhahib and the three I have not seen all of them, but I own a few of the major books that represent the mu'tamid positions in all three of the major madhahib, Aqidah madhahib. From the Maturidiyya, this was never said. From the Ash'ari, obviously from the Ash'ari, this was never said. But from the Hanabila, the major scholars, and I'm talking about pre-Ibn Taymiyyah. And even Ibn Taymiyyah did not pronounce kufr on all of the Ash'ari. He disagreed and he refuted the Ash'ari, but he did not pronounce kufr on them. Where is this coming from? What part of the Sunnah is that? Big Moose, salam alaikum wa rahmatullah. What's going on, big dog? So how could they deny their history? Yeah, they denied their own history. They come out of the Hanabila. They deviated away from the Hanabila. They come out of the Hanabila. Where and why where did this come from? Now, while y'all are trying to where this came from, I'm gonna prove to y'all first I forgot to make a point. He quoted Waqi'. Waqi', first and foremost, that statement from Waqi' cannot be used against the Ash'ari, because Waqi' came 200 years before Imam Ash'ari, 300 years, 250, 300, we'll say 300 years before the Ash'ari madhab was even formulated. So how could Waqi''s statement be used as evidence against the Ash'ari? And then Waqi' didn't even live in the time period of Jahm ibn Safwan, who was the leader of the Jahmiyyah. I'm not following. So he's using a statement from Waqi'. He's misusing this statement, first and foremost, because Waqi' just said that he observed Amash and Sufyan narrating hadiths pertaining to expressing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's sublime attributes without denying them. So he's implying that statement is evidence that you cannot deny the Sifatullah, which the Ash'ari believe. We certify all 99 names of and I'm gonna get ready to show y'all. I'm getting ready to pull the proof out. Y'all keep talking about proofs and evidences. I'm Mr. Proofs and Evidences. And I've been teaching this book every Sunday. Not many people come. People look at these videos, the refutation and all the spicy stuff. But when I'm actually teaching the Ash'ari madhab, because I see that so many people, so many Salafis are actually ignorant of what the Ash'ari madhab is, and the people need to know their Aqidah at general. What is this? A 2v2 team match will start when. Okay, I don't know how to do that, y'all. What happened? Somebody, okay, I don't know what happened. I think that was one of those games. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Yeah, I got the proofs and evidences right here. So I teach out of this book every single Sunday, and I think we're 7 or 8 classes in, and we're just reading Imam Bayhaqi, who was an authority in the Ash'ari madhab, and educating the people about what the Ash'ari madhab is. So y'all work on that while I. So let me finish the point about Waqi'. That is true. The Ash'ari madhab certifies what Waqi' says. So why is Fawzan lying and saying that we don't? and I'm going to prove it. So Bakir said, they were narrating the Sifatullah without denying them. Okay. Why is he using this statement against the Ash'ari? Now, the Jahmiyyah, they were known to deny Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's attributes. And the Mu'tazila did them as well. But what proof do the Saudi Arabian Wahhabi scholars have that, and now I'm gonna answer that question, but I want y'all to start working while I'm cooking, y'all start doing y'all Googling and y'all chat GBTing. I know the answer, and I'm gonna give y'all the answer. But I'm willing to be wrong. Y'all give me some proof that the scholars of Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah, after the Ash'ari Madhab was formulated, I'm not going to give y'all the answers because y'all are scholars. All these people who call me a deviant and call me a grave worshiper and all of that, y'all are scholars. If y'all can talk big and talk tough like that, y'all scholars. And I want to see where the evidence came that gave Sheikh Fawzan the right to pronounce takfir on the Ash'ari in his book. And I don't know if this was like some early material that he wrote and he was ignorant about the matter and then he retracted it later on. So if he did retract this statement that the Ash'ari were kuffar, somebody correct me in the comments. So the evidence against his statement, this is the Ash'ari book. I'm looking for. So in chapter 3 of Imam Bayhaqi's book, is titled Allah's Names and Attributes. And we've covered this chapter already. So he goes through and gives us the ayats of Allah's names and Allah's attributes. And then he goes through and gives us a hadith. Rasulullah ﷺ said, and I'm just going to paraphrase, verily Allah Ta'ala has 99 names. He gave us another one on the authority of Abu Hurairah. The Messenger of Allah ﷺ said, verily Allah Ta'ala has 99 names, etc. Long hadith, a hadith, another one. The sole narrator of this narration mentioning the names of the Walid, Ibn al-Muslim, authority, the Sir, the concerns the mention of the number of the explanation of these names on the mentions of the book and the individual hadiths, whether explicitly or implicitly. These names are mentioned in Allah Ta'ala's book and in other individual hadiths from our Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, whether explicitly or implicitly. We have mentioned them in the book Asma wa Sifat. His statement, verily Allah Ta'ala has 99 names, does not negate other than them. He only intended, and Allah Ta'ala knows best, that whoever enumerated the 99 names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enters paradise, whether he enumerated them from what we have transmitted in the first hadith, or from what we mentioned in the second hadith, or from the rest of whatever the book and the sunnah or the scholarly consensus indicate, and through Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is his enablement. Why did Imam Bayhaqi write an entire chapter about the 99 names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala if the Ash'ari, like Sheikh Fawzan said, deny? He said they all disbelieved in Allah and renounced his best names. How? And then he goes, and then in chapter 4, right after that, he goes and lists and gives the meaning from the Salaf on how they defined all the 99 attributes. Every single one of them. Imam Bayhaqi, who is an Ash'ari authority, gives the meaning. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 pages of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's names and attributes. What am I missing here? And then he says, he specifies and says Allah and renounce his best names. The next chapter is essential attributes and active attributes. The essential attributes. And he's given nothing but ayats and hadith. So what am I missing here? Going to the table of contents. Other essential attributes. Chapter 6, chapter 7. Additional attributes additional to the essence that subsists in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Chapter 7. Chapter 8. The face, the hands, and the eyes. Chapter 9, the attribute of action. Chapter 10, the Quran, Allah's ascension, the beatific vision. Chapter 12, predetermination. Chapter 13, the creation of all actions. This is Imam Bayhaqi's book. The Jahmiyyah were known for denying Allah Ta'ala's, denying Allah Ta'ala's attribute of speech. Chapter 10, page 82. Allah Ta'ala's nuzul, chapter 7, chapter 11, Allah Ta'ala's nuzul. The Jahmiyyah were known for denying all of this. If the Ash'ari denied it, why does Imam Bayhaqi have a book specialized proving that our belief in it and proving what the belief according to the way of the Salaf is supposed to be? His very first words in the chapter 10, and this was the known Jahmi belief and a Mu'tazili belief as far as the createdness of the Quran. His very first words in this chapter is the Quran is Allah Ta'ala's speech. Khalas. Allah Ta'ala's speech is an attribute among his essential attributes. It is impermissible for anything of his essential attributes to be created, brought into existence, or occurring. Khalas. And then he gave an ayah for proof. What am I missing? What am I missing? Why did Sheikh Fawzan pronounce kufr on the Ash'ari? Why did he say that we deny the names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and not just clearly show that he was wrong? He clearly showed that he was wrong. Our belief system does not match up with the Jahmiyyah. Na'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Let me check the comments real quick. See what I'm picking up on. See what I'm not picking up on. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah, Rashid. Rashid Akili. What's up, Gog? 345 Fizzle. What up? Yeah, MBS is locking these dudes up. That's for sure. Yeah, Safina Society does teach all for mothers. I'm actually in Safina Society. Alhamdulillah. Anthony Maria, what's going on? Jamal Muhammad Ibn Abdul. Allahu Akbar. Abdul Akbar. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Isa Abdul Zahir. If Salafi Wahhabis were switched with the Ash'aris throughout time, this ummah would have been destroyed a long time ago. Khalas. I don't see nobody answering nothing. So there isn't answers for such foolishness. So this is so look, I don't see no answers. Yes, I'm Ash'ari. Why did it look like it went blank on my screen? Oh, froze. Oh, no. I'm sitting here staring at the screen. I'm thinking like, man, did I freeze up? Man, share this with y'all Salafi friends and get me some answers pronto. Give me some answers pronto. I'm looking for the answers in the behavior class on TikTok. TikTok got the smartest people who all got behavior problems. Ahmad Nuruddin Al-Hanafi, what it do? Stay alert. The return of Isa the Messiah, the son of Musa. What? Where did the brother Jabril go? Can you provide insight on, is it true you can't pray for 40 days if you smoke? Just don't smoke. You don't have to worry. That's what my sheikh used to say. Don't smoke and you'll never have to worry about that hadith, being victim to that hadith. No, I am not AICP. No, I can't see who said that, but Ibn Taymiyyah didn't go as far as Ibn Abdul Wahab. No, he didn't. Ibn Abdul Wahab just kind of made up his own madhab, tried to anyway, failed, and people like Fawzan or Uthaymeen, Bin Baz, they followed right behind him. And this is what has spread. This right here is what has spread the hate in the Muslim community, and this right here is what divided the Muslim community. Prior to these guys coming, the Saudi Arabian Wahhabi scholars, the followers of Ibn Abdul Wahhab, prior to Ibn Abdul Wahhab and his group, everybody was cool. We was even willing to adopt our illegitimate child, Ibn Taymiyyah. May Allah Ta'ala be pleased with him and forgive him for any of his mistakes. Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah even adopted Ibn Taymiyyah and all of his deviant views in Aqidah. We said we were very fair with our dealings with Ibn Taymiyyah. We said, hey, he's thicker when it comes to fiqh. He doesn't rank high in the Hanbali madhab. He's thicker when it comes to fiqh, but when it comes to Aqidah, we cool. We ain't dealing with that. We even accepted that. We were very fair. Alhamdulillah, we were very fair. But when Ibn Abdul Wahab came, and then Fawzan came, and Ibn Ghunaym and Ghunnam and all these other guys are just like completely radical, completely extreme. When these guys came, they really switched the game up. They really switched the game up. This is the reason why Salafiyah hates Muslims, because their authorities, their shuyukh, have, for one reason or another, made major Aqidah blunders and errors. The Ash'ari does not deny the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In fact, we were the ones who transmitted the belief of Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah. Sahih Bukhari. Allah is, oh yeah, I ain't paying attention to them Christian people. They got enough on their hands with Korah Taymi. Okay. So let's deal. Let's say everybody's claiming the Quran and Sunnah according to the way of the Salaf. Everybody's claiming that, right? That whole group, this whole belief system of the Saudi Arabians, of the Wahhabis, of the modern day Salafis, it never existed during the time of the Salaf. The best that you're going to find is Salafi Wahhabis hijacking classical texts, classical works, classical shuruh, classical tafasid, classical fiqh books. They take those books and they twist them, just like you've seen Fawzan twisted this statement from Waqir. It is a known transmission throughout the Hanbali madhab. They take these authentic statements, these authentic texts, they take these things and switch them and twist them. And for the ignorant person who has never seen the works of Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, it's impressive to them because this is a statement from Waqi', who's a hadith authority. And then he comes and puts his twisted tafsir on Waqi''s statement. This is the best that you'll find from the Salafi Wahhabis. Their books, their Aqidah, their Minhaj, Thalathatul Usul, Nawaqidul Islam, all this stuff, all those ideas that are inside of those books never existed. Imam Abu Hasan al-Ash'ari, rahmatullah alayh, he was part of the Salaf. It's amazing that these people, these Saudi Arabian people come, the Saudi Arabian madhab come and 1,000 years later say they know better than the people of the Salaf. Imam Ash'ari was agreed upon as an authority at his time, and all of his students were as well. They were unmatched, unrivaled in their contribution to the scholarly material, to the teachings of Islam per Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah. Imam Abu Hasan al-Ash'ari, he came, and Abu Mansur al-Maturidi, they both came shortly after Imam Ahmad. They literally, those two people, their madhab literally dominated the scholarly field all the way around the board. Tafsir, Muntik, if that's what you want to get into, Tasawwuf, or Zuhd, or Tazkiyah, whatever word you want to call it, they all mean the same thing. They literally dominated the scholarly field, fiqh. Every scholarly field they dominated. There was no such thing as a Salafi or Wahhabi during this time period. From Abu Hasan al-Ash'ari, you had him. Then you had Abu Mansur al-Maturidi. They both were 3rd century, 4th century. We'll say 4th century. They were right behind Imam Ahmad. They inherited scholarship after Imam Ahmad, rahmatullah alayh. In the next generation, the 5th generation, you got Abu Ishaq al-Isfaraini, Farayini. I can't really pronounce his name, sorry. Farayini, excuse me, I'm moving too fast. In the fifth generation, yeah, Abdul Qahir al-Baghdadi, Imam al-Haramain al-Juwaini, Abu Bakr ibn Furak, al-Kushayri, al-Bayhaqi. These are giants. Everybody knows their books. Everybody knows their works. There were no Salafi Wahhabis during this time talking about, oh, these guys are Jahmiyyah. Those scholars were the authorities in all these succeeding generations. Excuse me, I'm spitting. In all these succeeding generations. And they were the ones who refuted the Jahmiyyah, refuted the Mu'tazila, refuted the Karramiyya, the Qadariyya, all of the deviant sects. They were the only ones that were there. The Salafi Wahhabis were not even there. Ibn Taymiyyah was an 8th century scholar. He was not there. So how on earth is Fawzan talking about the Ash'ari disbelieved and they denied Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's attributes and they were likened to the Jahmiyyah when nobody during this time period had even the nerve to say such a stupid comment. Everybody knows those names I just read. On the other side of the water, on the other side of the Tigris River, you had the Maturidis, 5th century, Abu Yasir al-Bazdawi. Everybody knows him. Abu Mu'in al-Nasafi. Everybody knows him. Aqidat al-Nasafi, 5th century. Then we had Abu Shakur al-Salimi. Everybody knows him. 5th going into that 6th century. These are major authorities that wrote Aqidah books, wrote the very Aqidah books that we're learning today. No Salafi Wahhabis were there. Nobody was there talking about Shahidar, the Maturidiyya, they were Jahmiyyah. They were not even there to be even have an opinion. How are they saying this now? Come on, y'all, prove me wrong. Everybody say I'm a Jahl. Everybody say that I'm a Kabudi. I'm a grave worshiper. I'm giving y'all the proof and evidence in the hot right now. We can go to the next century over, the 6th century. We have Abu Hamid al-Ghazali, rahmatullah alayh, major Ash'ari authority. Nobody from the Salafi Wahhabi Minhaj was talking about they worshiping graves and they deny the attributes of Allah. This wasn't happening. These were the very authorities of their time, and they were agreed upon. There was ijma on all these guys that I'm reading off to y'all. The scholars had consensus on their scholarship. There were no other books written. All these Wahhabi books that we have circulated now all came after the demise of Ibn Abdul Wahhab. And they only disseminate bits and pieces of Ibn Taymiyyah's works. Because if any of the Salafi Wahhabis go through the entire Hamawiyya and they go through the entire Majma'ul Fatawa, they're going to find things in there that does not support the Wahhabi Minhaj. So they only pick and choose certain parts and go through it. And there are some very sharp Wahhabis that have gone through it. But unfortunately, they deny the proofs and they deny the evidences to stick to the Ibn Abdul Wahhab cult. When you're denying the proofs and evidences that are right in front of you to belong to a group, that is a cult. Literally. Going further, Shahrastani, 6th century. Fakhruddin al-Razi, 6th century. Abu Bakr ibn Arabi, al-Maliki, 6th century. Everybody knows these giants. There were no Salafi Wahhabis there. Go to the Maturidi side. Abu al-Mu'in, Nasafi, Najmuddin al-Nasafi, Alaluddin, al-Samarkandi. Big names. Everybody knows these names. Nobody was talking about nobody. And these people here were the Khalaf. They were the people who were telling us what the Salaf did. There were no other books being disseminated. Now, of course, I don't want to leave out my Hanbali scholars. I'm just not that sharp with the Hanbali scholars in this era, but they were there. Khalal, Baydawi, of course, Ibn Qudama. None of those guys were even saying this. Buhuti, none of those guys were even saying this from the Hanbali standpoint. So we're hitting it from every single angle with proof. None of this stuff exists. Ibn Qudama, who is Muwafaquddin, Ibn Qudama, rahmatullah alayh, he is the go-to guy when you want to reference something in the Hanbali madhab. He was not fond of the Ash'ari. He didn't really like them that much. But one of his teachers or two of his teachers were Ash'ari. He studied with Juwayni. Big Ash'ari scholar. He was aight with them guys. He disagreed inherently, and we're gonna get to why the Hanabila refuted the Ash'ari and the Maturidiyya. We're gonna get into that. That's next. But even you don't find a statement from Ibn Qudama saying what Fawzan said. Fawzan is not an authority in the Hanbali madhab. He is an authority in the Wahhabi madhab, minhaj. It's not even a madhab. He's an authority from the Wahhabis. He's not an authority from the Hanabila. He was a Hanbali in fiqh. He followed the Hanbali madhab. And he was knowledgeable about the Hanbali madhab via Ibn Taymiyyah. And as far as I've been able to sift through his works, he cherry-picked from the Muqaddimin, the first generations of the Hanbali madhab, which is the golden generation of the Hanbali madhab. The latter generation, and that's how it is in all the madhabs. The latter generation has to follow the former generation. You can't have one without the other. The former generation is stronger than the latter generation. Maybe the Shafi'is might disagree a little bit. But the stronger positions in all of the madhahib are found in the early succession of the madhahib. This is when the chain is closer to the founder of the madhab, these mujtahideen. So Fawzan was not mu'tamad in the Hanbali madhab. I don't even want to put Fawzan's name in the same sentence as Muwafaquddin Ibn Qudama. We don't even find Ibn Qudama saying that the Ash'aris were Jahmiyyah and that the Ash'aris all of the Ash'aris disbelieved and they rejected Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's sifat. And Ibn Qudama gave the Ash'ari a hard time. He had nothing but a hard time for the Ash'ari. We don't even see him saying that. So what has given the right to Fawzan to go against the Salaf? All y'all saying he follow the Quran and Sunnah according to the way of the Salaf, but we don't see that here. The proof is on the screen. Now, my good friend Terry Coleman will let you know I'm as dumb as they done. I'm as dumb as they come. Our good friend Sheikh Terry Coleman, Sheikh Terry Coleman, will let y'all know I'm as dumb as a box of rocks, but I could doggone show can read what's on this screen here. And Sheikh Terry, you missed the part when I read off from an Ash'ari book where your great Allama made a huge blunder in the Aqidah by saying that the Ash'ari deny the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I would love to see a Sheikh Terry Coleman. I would love to see your refutation of that. I would love to see your scholarly dissertation against what Al-Jahan Abdul Kabir Muhammad Al-Maliki Al-Ash'ari says. I would love to see it. I would love to see it, Terry. And for people on TikTok who don't know, Terry Coleman is a big Salafi sheikh, and he is my biggest fan. He follows all of my works. He has my notifications on. He has a ring. What they call it, an alarm for my notifications. My notifications. My English ain't no good either, Terry. Sheikh Terry. It isn't. What did he say? See, this is what's wrong with the Wahhabis right here. If y'all can see the Sheikh Terry Coleman on here, he said, your good friend Terry Coleman is just telling the truth, you fool. And you put YPU, fool. So your English is just as bad as my ought to be. And that's even worse. But now, what up? Salaam alaikum, Terry Coleman. What's going on? I'm glad to see you in class, sir. I'm glad to see you in class. Let me get this nonsense off the screen. Okay, so we went all the way down to the 6th century. We can always go all the way down. Sayfuddin al-Amidi, al-Qurtubi, al-Nawawi, al-Bagdawi, all of these names are known. We just went from every century for the 3 centuries. I mean, the succeeding 3 centuries, what I always talk about, the first 3 blessed generations, and then the succeeding 3 blessed generations, the Salaf and the Khalaf. None of the Salafi jargon was spoken of and talked about. None of it. None of it. Where did Imam Fawzan, Sheikh Fawzan, get this from? Abu Hanifa affirms Allah is above his throne. So now that's the next part of all of this. The hijacking, and I'm glad you're here, Salafia on TikTok. The hijacking of the authentic texts per Quran and Sunnah. Salafia, Wahhabiyya hijacked the Quran, the authentic text and authentic writings. Now, this is where I want to teach y'all something that's very important. Usul. So everybody, even the Jahmiyyah, the Mu'tazila, the Qadariyya, the Karramiyya, all of the Iyas, All of them, the Khawarij, all of them quoted the Quran. All of them quoted the Ahadith. All of them quoted the Salaf. All of them. All of them quoted the texts. But what made them deviant was their erroneous interpretations of the texts. And this is why we must follow the Quran and Sunnah according to the way of who? Not Ibn Abdul Wahhab, not Ibn Taymiyyah. The Salaf. If there is no link to the Salaf, you reject it. And the Jahmiyyah and the Mu'tazila lived during the time of the Salaf. But they also claimed that they were rightly guided. So what do you do when you have both groups? Salafiyya, pay attention to this. What do you do when you have both groups claiming, quoting the Quran, quoting the ayats? What do you do? Quoting the hadith. I said quoting the Quran and ayat. That's redundant. That's the same thing. Excuse me. Quoting the Quran and quoting the ahadith. Salafiyya on TikTok. What is the answer to my question? What do you do? Anybody can answer that question. What do you do? I'm not lying, Terry Coleman. It's on the screen. How could you call me a liar? And I literally am sharing this major Aqidah blunder on the screen. Terry Coleman, you must be delusional, sir. Yakshan. That's a big quote. These are the foundational texts of the Salafi Salih author during the era of Abu Hassan. During the era of Imam Abu Hassan al-Ash'ari, these words documented the original creed. This is a copy and paste. The earlier generations, Usul Sunnah, Raddu Jahmiyyah, Raddu Jahmiyyah was an adhikah. You know, as you know, the chain to that book back to Imam Ahmad is weak. Even just like now, let it be known, the chain for Fiqh al-Akbar is also weak, but maybe we'll get to that on why Fiqh al-Akbar is accepted and Raddu Jahmiyyah wa Zanadika is rejected by Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah. Even the Muqaddimah of the Hanabila. That is not a Mu'tamid book in the Hanabila. Pre-Ibn Taymiyyah. خلف العباد كتاب التوحيد الجامع الصحيح by Imam Bukhari. Yeah, that book is good, but that book has a lot of tafweed and ta'wil in it. So I don't know why you would reference that book, Fayyad. So what's the answer? When you got both groups, you got everybody saying Quran and Sunnah, Quran and Sunnah, Quran and Sunnah. You got everybody saying that. How come nobody's answering the question? Nobody's answering the question. Nobody answered the question on YouTube, Facebook. Don't call each other the evil nicknames. That's not an evil nickname. The person whose name y'all follow, Ibn Abdul Wahhab, was evil. Okay. Nobody has the answer. Okay. Nobody has the answer. So this is where you get way up into the weeds. And this is why you got to leave this stuff to the Ahlul Ilm. General everyday people have to leave off these refutations and just focus on them for the ayn. You got this group over here saying Quran was Sunnah, this group over here saying Quran was Sunnah. They're both quoting the same thing. But where you make the difference on where you're right and where you're wrong is the shuruh that came from the Salaf. This is why the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us that we must follow his Salaf. Now, this is where we really get up in the weeds with Salafiyya Wahhabiyya. They take authentic books and they take authentic statements like we see here on the screen from Waqir, and they twist their interpretation to fit that of one, the minhaj of Ibn Abdul Wahhab. They will only give you an interpretation that comes from the Saudi Arabian scholars, and then they'll cherry pick from you, for you, stuff that they can manipulate from Ibn Taymiyyah. They will almost never quote you from the Salaf, the Hashia, from the Salaf, or the Khalaf, which are the authorities that we're supposed to be following. And even that book, Raddu Jahmiyyah was Zanadika, even that book, even though we have a problem with this chain, the reason why the book is not accepted, I mean, the scholars of Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah don't throw the entire book away. They just say there's some inflammatory statements that the Hanbali madhab cannot prove. So anybody can write a book. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has protected his religion. This is why the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam said that his community will never agree on misguidance. This is ijma'. Ijma' during the time of the Salaf. And then the Khalaf followed the same paradigm. They followed the consensus of the scholars about these issues. And none of the consensus of the scholars prove the Salafi Wahhabi Aqidah. None of it. Now, what the Salafi Wahhabis do is they'll quote you from books like Raddu Jahmiyyah, was Zanadika. That's a favorite book of theirs. Usul Sunnah, etc. Well, books with all have weak chains. Okay, they have weak chains. They back to Imam Ahmad. Okay, no harm, no foul. Because we got a lot of books that don't have chains. They're just books that were written or printed and copied. Basically, literally just copied and then produced. Now, the way that we protect ourselves, the way that Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah protects ourselves from deviant books and deviant scholars is the madhahib is a system. When the Salafi Wahhabis brought this whole standalone argument to the game, it destroyed the history of scholarship in Islam, where you can take one statement from Ibn Abdul Wahhab and negate all the scholarship that came before him. He alone considered tawassul to be shirk. Not tawassul with conditions can turn into shirk, like Ibn Taymiyyah. Ibn Abdul Wahhab even went against Ibn Taymiyyah, the person who he was inspired by. Ibn Taymiyyah didn't even say, I even read that to y'all on the last, his statement on the last live stream, when he said that not all shirk is kufr. But here comes Ibn Abdul Wahhab saying all tawassul is shirk. So this whole standalone, where one person can bully everybody intellectually, is not from the Sunnah of the Salaf. It's not from the Uswat of the Salaf. Miraculously, all those names I just read to y'all, for 300 years, they all had the same aqidah. This is a system. That is ijma'. All those scholars I just read, all those names that I just read for over 300 centuries in the Maturidi, Ash'ari, and the Hanbali madhabs, they all came to the same conclusions. All of those scholars in those madahib had different chains of transmission back to the founders of those madahib. And the founders of those madahib did the same thing in their asanid back to the salaf. This is how we protect Islam. This is how we know Salafiyya, Wahhabiyya is deviant. Because what they believe, it has not been transmitted. It has not been transmitted from the Hanbali madhab, from Imam Ahmad, from Khalal, from what's his name, Khadwati, from Bahuti, all of the major authorities. It has not been transmitted that the Jahmiyyah and the Ash'ari are one and the same. That is not transmitted. That was innovated during the time of Ibn Abdul Wahhab. On both the branches of the Hanbali madhab, you have the Ibn Qudama branch, which is the traditional branch of the Hanbali madhab, and then you have the Ibn Taymiyyah branch. Neither of those branches transmitted down to Ibn Abdul Wahhab his belief that tawassul, all forms of tawassul, was shirk. That was bid'ah on the behalf of Ibn Abdul Wahhab, and then he transmitted that bid'ah down to Uthaymin, Al-Albani, Fawzan, Bin Baz, the whole what have you. And then we have people nowadays blind following the Saudi Arabians. They're silent on what Ibn Taymiyyah said about the matters. They're silent about that. But they're just massively transmitting all over the internet that this is the belief of Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah. There's zero evidence that the Jahmiyyah and Ash'ari and Maturidiyya were one and the same. There's zero evidence for it. So even if somebody tries to use the book Al-Raddu Jahmiyyah wa Zanadika against the Ash'ari, the only thing that's spoken of in that book is, are the Mu'tazili and the Jahmiyyah. The Ash'ari are not mentioned in that book, as far as I've seen so far. Correct me if I'm wrong. But what you have nowadays, today, from the modern day innovative movement of Ibn Abdul Wahhab, Salafiyya / Wahhabiyya, what you find today is what you see on this screen, lumping together the Jahmiyyah and the Ash'ari, and then they'll argue with you with that book and say, "Oh, look, this is the Ash'ari. It doesn't say Ash'ari. Why are you doing tadlis?" There's a young brother who's a student of knowledge. His Arabi is better than mine and Terry Coleman's put together. This brother is sharp. He's very sharp. And even though his Arabi is sharper than mine, I'm not a slouch when it comes to it now. I ain't the best, but I ain't a slouch. He sent me a post and was like, "Hey, what do you think about this?" And it was in all Arabi. And he highlighted the post. I was able to at least read through the Arabi, even all of the words I didn't even know. I knew the majority of them, but I didn't know all of them. But I know for a fact I did not see Ash'ari. I seen Jahmiyyah, but I didn't see Ash'ari, nor did I see Jahmiyyah and Ash'ari in the same sentence. And I told him, I said, "Why did you tell the people that this is a refutation of the Ash'ari? But it says Jahmiyyah in the text. Don't do tadlis, ya habibi." He didn't disagree with me. Like, I'm willing to accept the argument, but you got to lay out the proofs and the evidences. Just making a claim, say, "Hey, the Ash'ari are Jahmiyyah," just saying that is not enough. You got to come with the proofs and the evidences. You got to go inside of our books and say, "Look, right here, this is where Imam Ash'ari, Imam Bayhaqi, Ibn Furak, whoever, An-Nawawi, Ibn Hajar, this is where they denied Allah Ta'ala's attributes, and this is kufr." You got to do that. But they can't because it's not there, which is bid'ah. Dare I say it, the great holy Saudi Arabian government and its government-sponsored shuyukh did bid'ah in the Aqidah. Dare I say it. The divine ulama of Saudi Arabia. I'm not a blind follower. I'm a student of knowledge. If I can't get the proofs and the evidences for something, I don't care who it comes from. Ash'ari, Maturidi, Bin Baz, Terry Coleman, I don't care who it comes from. I'm not accepting it. I'm not going to blind follow. This right here is blind follow. None of those books prove that the Jahmiyyah and the Ash'ari and even on top of that, all of those scholars that I just mentioned to y'all for over 300 years, they refuted the Jahmiyyah. 99% of the Salafi Wahhabis that are calling Ash'ari or Jahmiyyah don't even know what the Jahmi belief is, first and foremost. And second, 99% of them, even in Germantown Masjid, all of them, the great divine ulama in Germantown Masjid in Philadelphia, even they don't know the Ash'ari madhab well enough for them to say, right here, right here, right here, right here, right here, right here, all of this is Jahmi. And they're going to run into a lot of problems trying to do that, which is impossible. They're going to run into a lot of problems trying to do that. Because in these books, while they sitting down and they reading these books, the Aqidah of the Ash'ari mentioned the Jahmiyyah in refutation. Literally in the last class, when I was going through Imam Bayhaqi's book, I showed everybody where Imam Bayhaqi himself was going against the Jahmi belief of Nuzul. He was proving Nuzul per Quran and Sunnah, according to the way of the Salaf. And then he was saying, hey, listen, this is what the Jahmiyyah believe. We don't believe that. And here's the evidence why. Ayah, hadith, statement of the Salaf, statement of the Tabi'i, of a Sahabi, statement of a Tabi'i, statement of a Tabi'i. And he's showing the consensus. He's showing the ijma'. So how is it on the flip side, we don't find the Saudi Arabian Salafi Wahhabi Aqidah mass transmitted in the time of the Khalaf and the time of the Salaf, but in all those generations I just read to you, from the different branches, from the Juwainis, the Ghazalis, the Kalanisi, Ibn Furak, all these different scholars who lived in different cities and different countries and different states and different continents, all had an unbroken chain of transmission back to Imam Ash'ari, who has an unbroken chain of transmission back to Imam Shafi'i, rahmatullah alayhim. All these different scholars from all these different lands all taught the same stuff. Books of Aqidah popping up in Baghdad, popping up in Khurasan, popping up in Bukhara, all these different cities, different languages, different states, different countries. All these books, once they were translated into a common language, Arabi or from Arabi, all of them said the same thing. You find the Ash'ari belief system massively transmitted, mutawatir. You find the Maturidi Aqidah belief system massively transmitted, mutawatir. You find the Hanbali belief system, tafweed, quiet, locking the mouth, not doing tafweed kayf. This is garbage. Doing tafweed ma'na. They ain't saying nothing. They ain't even saying, oh no, hand, but not like Allah's hand. You don't find the Hanabila saying that. You don't find in the Hanbali madhab when they're saying this is the real, actual sifat of Allah, the real, actual yud of Allah. Na'udhu billah. Massively transmitted. I'm talking about 400 years, 350 years of scholarship, all of them coming to the same conclusion. Some of them disagree. And it must be noted here, beware of the Saudi Salafi Wahhabis exploiting the intellectual beef between the Hanabila and the Ash'ari and the Maturidiyya. Beware of them trying to exploit that to further their own agenda. They don't even want to spread the Hanbali madhab. They want to spread this garbage that came from Ibn Abdul Wahhab. There was a beef between the Ash'ari and the Hanabila. There was a beef between them. And the beef goes no further than what was inherited between the differences between Imam Ahmad and Imam Ibn Kullab. Imam Ahmad's only objection to Ibn Kullab was that he used ta'wil. He interpreted Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's attributes, but he did so in a befitting manner. You don't find Imam Ahmad's statement said Ibn Kullab said X, Y, and Z. He's wrong about X, Y, and Z. Not that I've seen so far. I'm not an expert in the Hanbali madhab, but I'm very familiar with the Mu'tamid positions on the Hanbali madhab. He just disliked that Ibn Kullab, they were in the same city, they knew each other, they were contemporaries, they were friends. Imam Ahmad was just like, hey, listen, don't entertain the Mu'tazila, don't entertain the Jahmiyyah, don't entertain the Karramiyya, don't entertain the Qadariyya. We're not saying nothing. When Allah Ta'ala says, thumma stawa ala al-arsh, that's it. We ain't saying nothing else. Its recitation is interpretation. Everybody memorize that. The recitation of the Sifatullah is the interpretation. This is the madhab of the Salaf. And the minority opinion is ta'wil, is interpretation. So you'll find the Saudi Arabian Salafi Wahhabi scholars trying to exploit those differences and say, oh, look, Imam Ahmad said right here that anybody who says that Allah Ta'ala is not above the Arsh, is not on the Arsh, didn't do istiwa on the Arsh, as a kafir. He wasn't talking about Ibn Kullab. He wasn't talking about Abu Hassan al-Ash'ari, Abu Rasul al-Maturidi. He wasn't talking about them. That statement was directed towards the Jahmiyyah. The Jahmiyyah went so far in their ta'wil, in their interpretation, in their falsafa. They went so far in their kalam, that they left Islam. That's who Imam Ahmad was talking about when he said ta'wil, when he did tafweed. Not that when you seen Imam Ahmad say that he intended a literal meaning. There's zero statements of Imam Ahmad saying that this is the literal meaning. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is sitting on the Arsh. He is physically in contact with the Arsh. There's zero statements of Imam Ahmad saying this, which is the evidence against the Saudi Arabian Salafi Wahhabis. That is the evidence. You can't say what Imam Ahmad didn't say and say that this is what he said. Are y'all crazy? And y'all want us to blind follow y'all in that? You say literally. You say spatial contact. You say Allah Ta'ala is in a place. You, Mr. Salafi Wahhabi, you say that. Imam Ahmad ain't never said that. Imam Ahmad did tafweedul ma'na. When somebody asked him about istiwa, he recited the ayats of istiwa. That's it. Imam Ahmad and Imam Abu Hanifa, even though there's some differences in the fiqh between the two of them, the Salafi Wahhabis try to exploit the differences in the fiqh. This is stuff that the masses don't know. All the masses know is these beautifully Hollywood-produced videos with these super holy-looking shuyukh like Fawzan saying only a one-sided story that even isn't the massively transmitted belief system of the Salaf. The people have become lazy. They don't read the books anymore. They don't sit here. Wallahi ta'ala, I sit here from the time that I wake up to probably Maghrib time studying. learning this stuff, translating these statements. Translating the books, that is out of my league. We try to get my best friend, Imam Nadir, who is an authority in the Arabic language. We're trying to get him back active, but he's working a lot right now. We got him working on translating these texts. And inshallah ta'ala, him teaching us along the way. But I'm translating pages, paragraphs, statements with the references all day. The masses aren't doing that. The masses are watching YouTube on TikTok and Instagram. And the Salafi, Saudi Arabian Wahhabis know that. And they put a lot of money behind it. And this bombards you guys on your phone. And then we get distracted with that. But way deep down inside of these conversations, y'all don't see that this literals business is not there. You see the Salafi Wahhabis taking these authentic statements and these authentic books and twisting it. You see this a lot. I even had a Salafi Wahhabi send me a reference from a scholar who isn't Mu'tamid in the Hanbali madhab, and he was 3rd century, so he was from the Salaf, saying the word hakiki, saying the word real. These attributes are real. And he used this as his evidence, like, see, the true Hanbali position is that they believe that Allah's attributes are like real, like physical attributes, like physical. And I said, hold on, let me check with my Hanbali Imam, one of my Hanbali Imams, and let me check with him about this, because I know from our standpoint that's bid'ah and kufr. From an Ash'ari and Maturidi standpoint, and from a traditional Hanbali standpoint. So the Imam got back to me and he said, yes, when this scholar said this, he said, the Hanbali madhab, interprets this as real, as in the sense that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said it. That's it. It goes no further than that. But you got the Saudi Salafi Wahhabis twisting the interpretation, going around and telling everybody that this means that Allah Ta'ala actually is in a place. Allah Ta'ala actually has physical body parts, which is kufr. You cannot liken Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to his creation. That is tashbih. That is tajseem. All of the scholars are unanimous that tashbih and tajseem is kufr. This is why we must fight this war. We got people inheriting this belief and being told that, been told this stuff. And I hope they're not internalizing, and I hope that they're not blind following this, and that they're actually doing some scholarly research. It is consensus from the Salaf, from the Khalaf, that if you like Allah Ta'ala to his creation in any way, shape, form, or fashion, kufr. This is not a light matter. This is not, oh, I'm just a Muslim. I'm not Ash'ari, I'm not Hanbali, I'm not Salafi, I'm just a Muslim. This is not that. It's much more serious than this. Because if you in these difficult times, if you pick up one of these books and it has ayats and it has hadith in it, just like the Wahhabi books do, and you open them up and you see this stuff, you're like, wow. This is straight Quran, straight Sunnah. And I have the uneducated Salafi Wahhabi victims inbox me like, brother, why you say something was wrong with Kitab al-Tawheed? What's wrong with that book? It's not, I've seen nothing but ayats and hadiths in it. Did Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam not say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guided him? And please don't let me misquote this hadith. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told him where to organize the surat of the Quran. Isn't that a hadith, an authentic hadith? which means that this religion came in order and structure. It was just not all over the place where you can just quote ayats and hadiths miscellaneously. This is why the madahib are essential. If you're not a mujtahid at the highest level, you're not a scholar at the highest level, you got to follow a school. Or you're going to be putting an ayat where it doesn't belong. You're going to be taking a hadith and putting it where it doesn't belong and saying, yeah, this is the belief of Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah. And you might have used this ayat to turn you into a kafir. You might be using these ayats to turn other people into kuffar, like the Wahhabis are doing. The Wahhabis are literally going against Abdullah ibn Umar, major Sahabi. And I don't know their justification for this. He said that the Khawarij used the ayats about the kuffar and the mushrikeen against the Muslims, and this is not permissible. And when you open up Kitab al-Tawheed, Nawaqidul Islam, you see ayats all over the place talking about the kuffar and the mushrikeen. Look at this statement right here from Fawzan. He's quoting ayats that Allah's intent was to talk about the kuffar, was to talk about the mushrikeen. And he's pointing these ayats towards Muslims. He's pointing these ayats. They, the Wahhabis, are pointing these ayats at Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah. The majority. And don't tell me just because the Ash'aris, the Maturidis, and the Hanbalis are the majority doesn't mean that they're right. What the majority means, the majority mindset. It's a mindset and it's a numeral number, a numeral fact. This is major stuff. So they're taking authentic works, books, statements, and they're putting a Saudi Arabian Salafi Wahhabi interpretation on it. That book, what Al-Raddu Jahmiya was Zanadika, and some other works, Usul al-Sunnah, some of the stuff inside of Usul al-Sunnah, even though it has a lot of weak hadith and the chain to the book itself is very questionable according to Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah. Those radical statements about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's sifat that would equate to liken Allah ta'ala to his creation do not fit into the majority stance in the Hanbali madhab. So this is why the scholars dissect those types of books and say, okay, this is good, this is bad. This is good, this is bad. And then you have, on the other hand, Fiqh al-Akbar, Fiqh al-Absat, that have chain issues. The chains are propped up. And if anybody, number one, first and foremost, books of fiqh and books of usul and books of tafsir, they don't take the same criteria as hadith. That's the first mistake that the Salafi Wahhabis do. You can't judge the transmission of a book the same way you judge the transmission of a hadith. Those are two completely different sciences. But they don't know this because they're too stuck and wrapped up blind following the Saudi Arabian scholars. If they actually jump out of that and look at the books that were written during the time of the Salaf and during the time of the Khalaf, it will be devoid of the Saudi Arabian Salafi Wahhabi ideology. Your mind will open up. You don't find that ideology anywhere during the blessed 6 generations. The only ideologies that you will ever find is the ideology of the Ash'ariyah and the ideology of the Maturidis and the ideology of the Hanbalis. The proof is this, because I know somebody in the comments said, oh, no, that's not true, because Imam Ahmad said this, Imam Juwaini said this, Fakhruddin al-Razi said this, Al-Suki said this. These are the people who follow those ideologies. What are y'all talking about? Y'all are I had a Salafi Wahhabi guy, and I feel bad for him, a Salafi Wahhabi victim. He refuted me when I put up the refutation for Anwar Wright on making takfir on Imam Jam, Hafidhullah. And he was so enraged that I had nerves to speak against Anwar Wright, the divine scholar Anwar Wright. And his refutation to me was quotes. Oh, excuse me, I misspoke. It was a video that I shared. I stitched the video. A young, rightly guided brother who is on his path to scholarship. I saved this. I stitched this video, and he was given evidence from Aqidat al-Tahawiyah and from the Tafsir book of Bukhari, of Imam Bukhari, doing what the Ash'aris, basically showing Imam Bukhari shared some of the beliefs of the Ash'ari, and that Imam Tahawi shared the same beliefs as the Ash'ari and the Maturidiyya. That was the stitch. And he was enraged by this. So his proof against me, I challenged him, and I challenge all of them. This is how I trick them. And it's not maliciously trick them. It's just to teach them a lesson, because they, instead of saying, hey, brother, and I haven't seen that in my studies, would you mind sharing me the reference? They automatically say, oh, you're a liar, you're a deviant, you over here lying to these people, you just doing this so you can get clicks and likes, and I'm not monetized. I'm an entrepreneur. I don't need social media in order for me to pay to feed my family. I do this for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but for the goodness of the people. Wallahi ta'ala, I don't get 1 cent from none of this. I'm not monetized. So he's like, oh, you're doing this for clicks and likes. You just want to be popular. Ooh. His evidence, I was like, well, brother, would you mind sharing me? Would you mind sharing me the proof of what you're saying? He literally copy and pasted something from a book from Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani. He refuted an Ash'ari, saying that the Ash'ari are deviants, and then he went and copy and pasted something he found on Google and refuted me with that from Ibn Hajar, who was an Ash'ari authority. And then even one of his Salafi brothers was like, hey, brother, you should take this down, because if you're not knowledgeable about these polemics, you're making us look bad. And I even tagged that brother and was like, hey, you're an imam. Why don't you give me the answer to the question? Why don't you refute me? I'm not against being refuted. I want to know the truth. If y'all got some evidence buried in the ground somewhere and y'all just not letting nobody see it, let me see it. I want to see it. I got a big mouth. I tell the whole world. And then I'll refute all of the 60-something videos that I've done 2-3 hours plus refuting the Salafi Minhaj with proof. I'll negate all of them. I've been doing this for almost 8 years now, studying this topic for almost 8 years now at a high level. And alhamdulillah, I'm going further and further up with the understandings of these things. I ain't seen it yet. But this is how uneducated the Salafi Wahhabis are. And I'm not saying that to be disrespectful. I'm saying that to challenge y'all. Y'all are men. Y'all are men of knowledge. Why are y'all reading books from Nawawi, who made Ta'wil, and then Fawzan, Bin Baz, Uthaymin, all condemned Ta'wil? Are you kidding me? Those guys say it's 3 usuli points in interpreting the Sifatullah. But Imam Nawawi said there's 2, Tafweed and Ta'wil. It's simple. That's not hard. That's simple. Why are the Saudi Arabian people going against the Salaf and the Khalaf? Why are they going against Nawawi? Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani, he said the same thing. Imam Bayhaqi said the same thing. Even Anwar Wright, in that video that I made refuting him when he would make takfir to Imam John, he said, Bayhaqi said that this narration was weak, and As-Subki said that this narration was weak. 2 major Ash'ari authorities. You will never find the Salafi Minhaj in the time of the Salaf, and the belief system that the Salafi Minhaj that we see today, like the Minhaj of Germantown, the Minhaj of those people in Birmingham, London, and the Minhaj of Saudi Arabia. You will never find what they believe inside of the time of the Salaf and the Khalaf. The people who were writing these books were Ash'ari. The people who were writing these books that they're quoting were Maturidi. The people who wrote these books that they're quoting were Hanbali. And y'all should be appalled that y'all scholars is hiding this information from y'all. Maybe I've been wrong about a lot of stuff and I ain't seen y'all, nobody refute me yet because I'm quoting straight from the sources. So it's going to be hard to prove me wrong because I don't go outside of Nakam. I'm not qualified. I say what the scholars said. Khalas. By the time y'all see me go live, it's because I done spent a lot of time studying this matter and I done verified what the scholars from the Salaf have said. And then I'm just coming to tell y'all what the scholars of the Salaf have said. I'm not going to tell you what Bin Baz said, Uthaymin said, Al-Albani. So the Salafis reject me because I'm not quoting them. But what they don't know is they are not the scholars of the Salaf. Erase them. Go past them. Subhanallah, I would be satisfied if the Salafi Wahhabi people would denounce Salafiyya, denounce Wahhabiyya, and just be Taymi Hanbalis. Even though I disagree with the vast majority of not the vast majority, I'm being extreme. I strongly disagree with some major problems that Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah has with Ibn Taymiyyah. Ibn Taymiyyah was a lone wolf with his Aqidah. Ibn Taymiyyah was a lone wolf with, I think my Hanbali Imam said there are 11 points of fiqh where they reject Ibn Taymiyyah. The school rejects Ibn Taymiyyah. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. Who is from the Muqaddimah of the Hanabila, not the Mutaakhirin. I would be satisfied. I can take that because Ibn Taymiyyah was a scholar. I got a couple of his books. His stuff was good. His stuff was good reading. And I'm a nerd about this stuff. I'm not just blind following my Ash'ari scholars, my Maturidi scholars, my Hanbali scholars. I'm not just blind following them. I'm reading Ibn Taymiyyah's works. And his stuff is taking a long time to get through. Because Ibn Taymiyyah was a polymath. He was a genius. Ibn Taymiyyah was a genius. He was a genius. It's taken a long time to decipher some of his works. And it's hard. It's very hard. That's why I really haven't done a series on Ibn Taymiyyah yet, because you got to step right when it comes to him. And then the scholars who follow Ibn Taymiyyah, they shy. The people who follow the Taymi Hanbalis are shy. They eat me up. I ain't even gonna play with you. I ain't no sucker. I'm not a sucker about none of this. A lot of them Taymi Hanbali scholars, I don't want no smoke with them. They shy. I'm all right with that though. We can agree to disagree. But the Saudi Salafi Wahhabi stuff, I ain't got nothing for it. I ain't gonna say it's all bid'ah. It's founded on bid'ah. It's founded on bid'ah. There are so many things in the Salafi Aqidah that will nullify your Islam, that will nullify your good deeds. If a person takes a correct position in the Salafi Aqidah and they're good. For example, they might say, I don't think Imam Fawzan meant Allah has literally eyeballs in his head, but they like super powered eyeballs. You got some Salafi Wahhabis that believe that. Like he says eyeballs, that's what it is. It's literal real eyeballs, but they super powered eyeballs. They're to the zenith. They eyeballs that can see through infinity. And there's a Salafi who says, yeah, I don't believe that. I just believe, what the text say, I'm just leave it at that. Okay, his Aqidah is straight, but he still says that he's Salafi. But then he goes and reads Al-Albani's book on, or somebody's opinion, Al-Albani's opinion, who doesn't follow a madhab, on Salah, and he adopts that opinion and he uses that in his everyday Salah. It can either be nullified or it's weak to the point where it won't weigh heavy on the day of judgment. Why? Because like I said before, the deen was transmitted from Allah, from Jibreel, from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to the Sahaba, to the Tabi'een, etc., etc. Y'all know that. We don't have the right. Al-Albani didn't have the right to mix all that up. The people who Al-Albani tried to teach y'all from all follow the madhab. Bukhari followed madhab. Muslim followed madhab. Abu Dawood followed madhab. Everybody who he taught you he told everybody don't follow a madhab, but the people who he's teaching you, he doesn't have his own works. He's dependent on the works of those people, and those people follow the madhab. They didn't even feel comfortable stepping outside of the madhab. Why did Al-Albani, who was nowhere near on the level of those scholars, say, oh yeah, I'm cool, I ain't following the madhab. I'm going to do just like Bukhari did. Bukhari followed the madhab. He followed the madhab in hadith. People don't know that. Until he reached the level of ijtihad in hadith. And this is when he became the great Imam Bukhari who we know now, and he has his own madhab in hadith. Deep studies, we ain't going to go down that road. Imam Muslim had his own madhab in hadith, etc. Those guys reached that level. Al-Albani ain't reached that level. So case in point, I want to wrap all this up, inshallah ta'ala. We're at the point where we'll get to the comments. This is a major Aqidah blunder, and there are lots of other major Aqidah blunders in the Salafi Wahhabi Aqidah system. It's safer, I'm warning y'all, it's safer to follow those scholars that were approved of by consensus. The four madhahib of fiqh approved of in consensus. It's impossible for you to be wrong by following them. It's impossible. It's absolutely impossible. Same difference with Aqidah. Those three schools of Aqidah, they are agreed upon, and since they came, all of the scholars afterwards, they agreed on them. And even so much so, the four madhabs adopted those three Aqidahs. The Ash'ari madhab, the Maturidi madhab, and the Hanbali madhab. All over the Muslim world, they looked at it and examined it. I'm talking about hundreds of thousands of scholars. Not one person, Ibn Abdul Wahhab. Not one person, Ibn Taymiyyah. Not one person, Ibn Fawzan or Fahmi. Not one person. I'm talking hundreds of thousands of people for 400 generations. 400 years, 4 generations. Hundreds of thousands of scholars reviewed this stuff assiduously, much better than you and I can on these little PDFs that we playing around with, and say, yes, this is correct according to the Quran and Sunnah and the way of the Salaf. The madhahib are systems. They are schools. They're colleges. It's not just something you can throw away and say, okay, I'll follow it or I won't follow it. If you're not going to follow it, cool, that's your right. But how are you going to live your Islam? 90% of y'all don't memorize the Quran, let alone hadith, let alone can develop your own system of fiqh where you can say, I've reviewed all the 6 hadith books and I think that salah should be done this way. This is my fiqh ruling, my fiqh fatwa. None of y'all don't have that ability. Anwar Wright don't got it. Hassan Somali don't got it. None of them dudes. Everybody that y'all adulate, none of them have that ability. So how can you feel safe? How can you feel safe not following the madhab? And you know you're not even qualified to contend with the individuals who established all of the Islamic books that we read and we arguing and we PDF and we copy and pasting. We copy and pasters. How are you going to say you're not going to follow the people who created what you're copying and pasting? Y'all sound silly. That's like saying me in my prime right now, 42 years old, can beat Jordan when he was 30 years old. Because I done researched all Jordan's videos. So since I researched all Jordan's videos, I think I can beat Jordan when he was 30. Y'all sound crazy. It's much safer. It's much safer. And this is by Ijma. And I'm going to close with this. Imam Shafi'i said this was, and this is paraphrasing him, that this deen was transmitted from Allah, from the Prophet, from the Salaf, and the consensus of the scholars. The Salafi Wahhabis believe Imam Shafi'i was wrong about that? They smarter than Imam Shafi'i? Y'all smarter than Imam Shafi'i. The consensus of the scholars have agreed on these 7 madahib. They have agreed. They examined them and say, yeah, this is right and exact. This is it right here. This is the haq. Hundreds of thousands of experts. This is literally what ijma means. Ijma does not mean that 4 people from Saudi Arabia have agreed on this issue, and that negates hundreds of thousands of scholars who came before 1,000 years before. This is insanity. And it is disrespectful to it is evil to this. It is disparaging to the rich Islamic intellectual history, which supersedes every philosophy that came after it. There is no philosophy, not communism, not the American system, democracy in all its forms. University of New York, Brown, Harvard, Yale, Cambridge, Jami'atul Madina, none of these systems and philosophies supersede those 7 madahib. That is the highest of the high of knowledge and intellect and all of the intellectual sciences. You will spend a lifetime trying to master one of those sciences. If you want to go master Muntiq, you will spend a lifetime doing that. You won't have time to master Hadith. And if you're mastering Hadith, you won't have time to master Muntiq. If you master Hadith and Muntiq, you won't have time to master Usul al-Tafsir. You won't have time to master tafsir. You won't have time to master usul al-fiqh. These people who we're talking about, who founded these 7 madahib, they not only mastered these sciences, all of the Islamic sciences, they pioneered the formulation of them for you and I to read and learn from. I digress. And let's go see what my behavior class Salafi Wahhabis have said. Jamal Hologrove, what's going on? I wish this thing wasn't so many words and writers. Let me see. How can I enlarge this? Important. Okay. How can I take this off? Okay. All right. Why can't I get this off my screen? Puts action before belief. That is why 100% is shook to them. Imam Ahmad is a what? Imam Ahmad is a mushrik to the Wahhabis. Imam Ahmad is a mushrik to the Wahhabis because tawassul through the Prophet of Islam is recommended in the Hanbali madhab. Good job, Mumu124 from YouTube. And he himself did istighatha during Hajj when he got lost, but they'll never say it. Yeah. So if you follow the Salafi Wahhabi Aqidah, they will takfir Imam Ahmad, like Mumu 124 just said on YouTube. Good job, man. New York Muslim. I'm not from New York. I'm from further south of New York, sir. I'm 11, 12 hours from y'all. I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio, man. Okay? Salafi. Yeah. That's how I say it, man. I can say salaf. I can say it. Salaf. I can say it. But it's not how I talk. Just like you from New York Muslim 809, just like you say talk. What is talk? That ain't how I speak down my way. We say talk. It's just the way that I speak, brother. I ain't no slouch in Arabic. No way, shape, form, or fashion. There ain't no slouch. I'm just not fond of all those Salafi Wahhabi shuyukh who do half of a lesson in Arabic or they quote too much in Arabic. So many of the masses of the people, that don't benefit them. It is the sunnah to quote the Quran, quote the hadith, and quote the athair. It is sunnah to quote it in Arabic and then say it, because then you actually have the proof. You're saying the proof. So that is a sunnah. But I want to make this stuff as I want people to understand this stuff. So you'll never find me like, Alhamdulillah, nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nu'minu bihi wa natawakkal alayh wa na'udhu billahi min anfusina min sayyiati a'malina. I'm a real dude from the hood. I'm not no Saudi Arabian. I'm not from Saudi Arabia. I'm not gonna wear that red and white flag, whatever you call that, on my. I'm not gonna pretend and act and talk with a Saudi Wahhabi accent. I ain't gonna do that. Now, what needs to be true, what needs to be said in Arabic, I'm gonna say it, and I'm gonna translate it to my best ability. And I'm not a translator. I just work off the. I translate stuff myself, and when I translate it, I have to check it with my authorities. So yeah, I'm not to that level, but I ain't no fool. You put something up here, I can read it, and we can get with it. But I'm not gonna sit here like I'm not impressed by that, and I don't want y'all to be impressed. But y'all shouldn't be impressed by it. I see so many Salafi Wahhabi videos, and they acting like they sitting in the haram, and they got all these tulab al-ilm in front of them, and everything that they say in Arabic, the tulab al-ilm, they understand it and all that. No, this ain't that. I'm talking to people in the hood. I'm from the hood. We trying to keep away from stealing, killing, robbing, and selling dope. I'm trying to make the deen comprehensible for them. So, and like I said, just like y'all say Hanbali, well, up your way. We don't say Hanbali. We say Hanbali. That's just the way I talk. It doesn't mean I'm ignorant in Arabic, although I get the joke. Y'all know I like jokes and I like to troll, and it's a funny joke. Y'all talking about the way that I talk, okay? But putting it on record, don't even play with me thinking that I'm a slouch. And a lot of people that have played with me trying to troll me, it's Arabic. I done told all of them, come on live in Quran and let's go Quran for Quran, Surah from Surah with proper tajweed, and I bet you I smoke you. And then all of them back down. Every one of them back down. Every one of them back down. It's like, oh, brother, I ain't gonna show off and show them my Arabic and how much Quran memorized. That's Riyadh, brother. All right, then. Well, why you keep trolling me about the way that I say salaf? I bet y'all couldn't even. I bet you most of the people who troll about this can't even. Don't even understand. Couldn't even tell me the grammar rule that applies to that word, the makhraj of that word. I bet you, y'all, New York Muslim. What is the makhraj of the word salaf? There you go. Since you want to test somebody and you want to try to play somebody like Forget the proofs that I'm putting on the screen and the pot that I'm cooking out of. Forget that. Let's distract the people by talking about the brother's accent, the brother's Cincinnati accent. Let's distract the people with that. Brother, you couldn't think of nothing else to type with your time. Like, yeah, why did Falzon say that? The brother just read out the book that the Ash'aris don't deny the attributes of Allah. I don't know. We need to check into that. You couldn't type that. And just like I say that with a D, not that with a TH. We say that way. Just like with Cincinnati Bengals, when you see our chant, when we whooping all of y'all teams and stuff, what we say, who they, D-E-Y, they, who they. We don't say who they, who art thou. We don't talk like that. No, that, they, them. That's how we talk in Cincinnati. Now, y'all, I spoke on it. I hate getting sidetracked. All this time I had to rant about that, I could have been answering somebody's question or putting somebody's good comments on the screen. We gotta play games. New York Muslim, what is the makhraj as-salaf? I'm pretty sure you typed that pretty fast. Stop the cap, affirming Allah Ta'ala's own reveal. Oh yeah, you going hard today, New York Muslim. Stop the cap. Affirming Allah's own revealed attributes is not radical. I never that. I didn't say that. You're misquoting me, New York Muslim. This thing just keep getting stuck. I have to. Man, I can't even scroll through these comments. See if I enlarge the screen, if I can see it on the screen. I can't even go through them. New York Muslim said, Rahim Ali Fortis Lauder daily. What it do, Aki? Big homie, what's happening? New York Muslim said, ironically, the Ash'ari hood niggas, you one of them, are just as trifling as the Salafi hood niggas that you're generalizing on. I ain't never seen nobody get jumped on in Salafi. In the Ash'ari masjid. I don't see the Ash'ari takfir and whole masses of Muslims. I don't see them doing that. I don't see the Ash'ari coming on there and taking prominent imams and saying, yeah, this is Shikr Akbar. On a daros and a masjid, I don't see the Ash'ari doing that. So you a lie. Your cop-out was just to make fun of the way I talk, not to respond to nothing I said, New York Muslim. You ain't talking about that. Let me get to some actual comments, questions, and concerns. What is this? Oh, shoot. Huh? Open in a new window. What is that? Hold on. This is something new. Oh, I can pull. Wow. Oh, I just learned something new. Why does it say I'm sharing this? Oh, okay. Oh, so I just seen that I can open up the comments in a separate window. Now we cooking with grease. All right. A lot of comments on Facebook and YouTube. Make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe. We putting in work around here. Okay, hold up. Let me see where I left off at. Take this comment down. Gog and Mega, I shot you out. I'm a new Shahada, so I'm just trying to understand what the issues are. Liz741 on YouTube, I would tune out of this video. And the only thing that I'm going to say to you is find you a teacher, or you can inbox me. Go on my socials. If you go on my YouTube page and hit my bio on my YouTube page, I got all my socials linked. Shoot me a DM, and I can link you in with some classes, with some beginner Muslim classes, some beginner Muslim online classes, inshallah ta'ala, and I'll help you as much as I can along the way, inshallah. They're my folks, Safina Society. Shout out to Sheikh Shadi and Sheikh Imam John. Shout out to them. All of this is just designed to keep our eyes off the bigger picture. So let's get PDFs, Aki. Abdullah Isa, alayhi salam wa barakatuh. We're doing it now to Abul Hassan al-Ash'ari to clarification of the foundation of Islamic belief and a detailed exposition of the Ash'ari madhab by Abu Khadija Abul Habib. That's it. They're taking classical books and putting a twist and interpretation on classical books. But they'll never be, like I explained in the video, these books have been the belief system has been transmitted all over the place. So they can't do an overhaul of the whole entire madhab. That's impossible. So they're going to fail. And if Abu Khadija does publish this book, he's going to make himself look sillier than he already does. Yeah. Germantown just taught a book of Tasawwuf from Ibn al-Qayyim. Yeah, they taught the people Sufism and called it Zuhd and thought that they was teaching something different. Yeah, I don't think Ibn Qudama fought alongside of Salahuddin al-Ayyubi. I think that was Ibn Taymiyyah. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, either way it goes, the Ibn Taymiyyah fought with the Ash'ari. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong. Ibn Taymiyyah fought with the Ash'ari, and Ibn Qudama was also reported to have fought with the Ash'ari. Why would they fight to uphold a Kufri dynasty and not fight against them, just like Ibn Abdul Wahhab did? What Ibn Qudama did say, is he asked if he could tell the people that the Ash'aris believe in two Qur'ans he did not like Ta'wil. Yes, that was an opinion of his. And Fawzan probably got it from Sheikh, and he makes taqleed for yes. Yakshan. Thank you. That's what we need. More Salafi on Salafi violence. That's what we need. Less Salafi on Ash'ari violence and more Salafi on Salafi violence. Yeah, now the brother Terry is special, man. I make dua for him, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept his good deeds and guide him on the path of righteousness. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept any ignorance that he may have and don't discount any of his deeds. I mean, Terry is funny to me. He's funny. And even though he trolls me a lot, maybe one of these days he'll pick up on some of this haq or some of, one of these seeds will get planted in his heart and it'll grow and he'll come to Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah. How do you can call yourself Sunni while your imam is Aristotle's plan? Yeah, you got to prove that. Like, I ponder again on YouTube. Make your refutation with the Ash'ari madhab and Ash'ari authorities, and put it alongside Plato and Aristotle, and then upload. You can tag me in it. You can call me to come and join you in the discussion. When you do your scholarly work, I don't want to see claims. I want to see scholarly work, like what I'm doing. I'm taking y'all's belief and putting it on the screen, and then I grab. I know this. I'm learning and know this madhab, and I know y'all minhaj, and I say, look right here. Fawzan said this, and he was wrong, and I proved it. None of y'all are addressing the fact that Fawzan was wrong. Let's get that straight. 2 hours in, I've been going hard, and I proved. Here's the Ash'ari book. That's what Fawzan said. He was wrong about what he said about what he said about the Ash'aris. Ain't none of y'all talking about that. All of y'all are deflecting. And TikTok, I'm finna jump over here with you little bad behavior class kids, because I know y'all over here acting up. Once I get done with YouTube and Facebook and Instagram, I'm jumping over to the behavior class. Y'all just hold on. Y'all ain't none of y'all talking about this. Y'all bringing up all kinds of other points of refutation that I've already covered before. But once you're done, ponder again with your refutation. Let me in. Let me know. Tag me in it. Send it to me, and we'll go from there. But just making these outrageous claims are nullified. I'm not going to blind follow you. Bring your proof. Bashir Muslims. Alaikum. Philly in the house. My Philly Ash'ari's in the house. What it do? Muawiyah 66 from YouTube. Yes, I did say not all. No. I did not say all shirk is not kufr. No, I didn't say that. I said that maybe I was speaking too fast. Maybe I did have a slip of a tongue. Thank you for that correction. I was saying Ibn Taymiyyah was saying not everybody who. What is the quote? Let me look at the quote so that I don't miss. Let me look at it again. I'm glad you corrected me on that. Maybe I misspoke. Let me look at my notes. What's bid'ati nabi bid'ati? No, that's not it. فليس كل من قال يا محمد يا أو يا نبي الله أو استغاثوا بك يكون مشركا. So not everyone who says who does tawassul, basically what he's saying. I misquoted. Thank you for that correction. I was probably talking too fast. This was the quote that I said the other day in the refutation to Anwar Wright. This was the statement of Ibn Taymiyyah in Majma' al-Fatawa, and volume 1, pages 346 and 347, that not everybody who says, "Oh Muhammad, oh Prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala," or seeks help through you is a mushrik. That's the quote. That's the actual quote. Thank you for that correction. Oh shoot. I done lost my thing. Where'd it go? Hold up. Where'd it go? I lost the I was able to hold up. I just lost the comments. Hold up, y'all. Pop out chat. That's crazy. I just clicked off the screen and it went away. It's here. Okay. Oh, there it is. Okay. All right. Muawiyah 66, Ash'ari and Jahmi are very similar. You're gonna have to prove that, sir. This is the problem. This is why I said this is why Salafiyah hates Muslims so bad that they read stuff that Fawzan said and they blind follow it without any proof. Muawiyah 66, I'm doing the same thing. I'm telling you, like I told everybody else, don't just blind follow the Saudi Arabian scholars. Find the proof from the Ash'ari madhab, and I mean, you're not going to find the Jahmiyyah madhab. It doesn't exist. The only way y'all know about the Jahmiyyah, I think I forgot to mention this too, is the only way that y'all know about the Jahmiyyah madhab is from us. It's from the refutations that the Hanbalis have done, the Maturidis have done, and the Ash'ari have done. We are the ones who told y'all what the Jahmiyyah belief and told y'all what was wrong and what was right. So how can y'all contradict us for contradicting the Jahmiyyah? That's illogical. That makes no sense whatsoever. So I'm challenging you. I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt, you and y'all. I'm giving you and your guys, your people, your shuyukh, your minhaj. Where is a comparative analysis of what the Ash'ari believe and what the Jahmiyyah believe with references? That's your homework, Muawiyah 66. Well, Muawiyah 66, you said istighatha is major shirk. You know better than Ibn Taymiyyah. You just heard me read Ibn Taymiyyah's quote with reference. You had a slip of the tongue. You said that not all shirk is kufa. Okay, Jamal. Okay, my bad, y'all. Thank y'all for that correction. Okay, y'all. I gotta go. Boy, who you telling no to? Are you playing? Is he playing? Or are you serious? Okay, y'all. Okay. Hey, I couldn't get to the. Hold on. Let me scan through TikTok. Instagram. There's no questions or comments on Instagram. Dula973. What up, North? What's happening? Assalamu alaikum. What's up with the Ahl Sunnah people and up north, up top? What's up with it? Assalamu alaikum. Okay, I gotta go soon. I just want to make sure I don't miss nothing. I don't see no questions, comments, concerns according to this refutation that I just did. I ain't seeing no scholarly statements for this refutation. That's what I'm looking for. No, 5 times a day, okay. No, Bukhari was not an Ash'ari. They did not live in the same time period. But Imam Ash'ari inherited the beliefs of Imam Bukhari. So it's the same. So Imam Ash'ari held the same beliefs as Imam Bukhari. And we can prove that. Five times a day, okay. I suggest you go look at my exposition of the 4 Imams being Ash'ari. I did a video about that on YouTube. Go to the True Aqidah. As a matter of fact, go to my my bio and click the link and click the YouTube, and you can find the video. It's got you'll see it. It's what it says. Did the 4 Imams follow a madhab? And I'm proving the link through Isnad. I put the Isnad on the screen. I put the proof on the screen. I want you to go and refute that video and tag me in a refutation. Send it to me. Whatever you got to do, make me aware of the refutation that I did. I think it was 3 hours long. So the short answer is no. The 4 Imams were not Ash'ari. But off the top of my head, I can tell you that the Ash'ari have an unbroken chain of transmission of the madhahib back to the 4 Imams. The Salafi Minhaj doesn't. The 4 Imams, I mean the 3 madhabs in Aqidah, they do. I put the Maturidi chain back to the Salaf on the screen, and I put the Ash'ari chain back to the Salaf on the screen. Khalas. I deal with nothing but proofs and evidences. If I can't prove it, you ain't gonna see me do a video about it. Uni Masede, I hope I didn't mess up your name. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Okay, y'all behaved in the comments today on TikTok. Y'all going, I'm gonna have to take y'all out the behavior class. Saudi is no longer Salafi. That's funny. Okay, I don't see any questions, comments, or concerns according to the lesson. Bilal, sorry I didn't plan to bring anybody up, but I always be trying to tag team with people. Send me a DM, brother, and we can set up something and we can do something. Okay, I gotta make dinner, so I gotta go. My wife is hungry. All right, y'all. I love y'all for the sake of Allah. Kulli qawla hadha wa astaghfirullah wa la ilaha illallah. Yeah, Muawiyah 66, no scholar is infallible. That is like all that's like the one of the biggest excuses that the Salafi Wahhabis give. Yes, they're not. But like the Prophet ﷺ said, if the Mujtahid gets there, if the Qadi gives you a fatwa and he's wrong, he gets one reward. If he's correct, he gets two rewards. So it's impossible that the ulama are wrong. The actual ulama and the actual mujtahideen, the actual qudaa, the fuqaha, it's impossible that they're wrong because only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows that they're wrong. To us, we don't know if they're right or wrong. But to Allah, He knows the answer. A fatwa, we don't know because there's no cut to any text. So this goes for Aqidah and this goes also for fiqh. So it's impossible. We can follow it and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it will be forgiven. Allah ta'ala will give the scholar the reward. This is a lot, New York, New York. Abu Hassan al-Ash'ari, he said, why did he make the statement of leaving out the Kalam and instead adopting the Sunnah al-Ahmad? That's a lie. That is not transmitted in the Ash'ari madhab. There's no chain for that statement. That statement doesn't come out of an authentic book, and the book that you're quoting out of is a Saudi Arabian Salafi Wahhabi produced a book called Ali Bana, where they made alterations to it. The original Ali Bana does not exist with us today. The only reason we know that Imam Ash'ari wrote a book called Ali Bana is because I think Nawawi, Ibn Hajar, and a few other of the Ash'ari scholars reference Imam Ash'ari's Ibana in their works. And they transmitted those references, and some of them, I even heard some scholars say that they, Ibn Hajar and them, had actual transmissions of Ali Ibana, but it's not the Ali Ibana that you see the Saudis disseminating amongst themselves. That is not a book that is mu'tamad in our madhab. We have books that are mu'tamad in our madhab, and a proof to that is all, like I said earlier in the program, the way that we can prove the authentic books is compare them to the rest of the authentic books in the madhab. That's how we find the mu'tamid and muraji positions in the madahib. We use the consensus, like Shafi'i said. If there isn't a consensus on it, then we don't
Can y'all hear me now? I'm getting ready to hang it up. Can y'all hear me now? My mic went dead. I didn't charge them up. My sound good? Somebody give me a yes in the chat. My sound is good. Okay, all right. So we're wrapping up. Alhamdulillah. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Inshallah ta'ala, Sunday, I have a Salafi brother coming on. He's a popular brother. His name is Halal Chef. I think he's from Philly and he lives like down south somewhere now. He has a food truck. Alhamdulillah, may Allah ta'ala bless his business. He's going to come on the program, the platform, and he's going to defend the Philly Muslims. Alhamdulillah. We're going to have a discussion, a respectful conversation. I want to ask him some questions. I want to put some of these queries to him. I've been wanting somebody from the community. They all just want to beat me up. They don't want to talk. So I commend the brother for being brave and coming on. So inshallah, watch out for that. He haven't confirmed me the time, but it'll be Sunday. He said Sunday night. So inshallah ta'ala, Sunday night, we'll have that conversation. So y'all look out for that. Inshallah ta'ala. And we'll be back next week for some more content. Another version of Love Talk Live. We're going to start reading this book, The Rights of the Husband and the Wife, on Love Talks Live, and we're going to reflect on it, inshallah ta'ala, me and the wife. All right, I got to go. We got to eat. I love y'all for the sake of Allah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.